Elise, can you hear us in the chamber?
Hi, David. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Hi, Tina. It's
perfect.
Councillor Zhou. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now, Councillor Zhao. Thank you. Can you hear us in the chamber, Councillors Zhou?
Clerk, this is Councillor Boyle. Can I just check that you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes.
Can you hear me as well, Tina?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody who is not a councillor, the video should be off, please. Thank you. Unless you're going to be speaking later as staff or an applicant.
Okay, so we have quorum with both members joining virtually and also in chambers. So just ask those that are joining virtually to keep your videos on so we can maintain quorum. Okay, so I'm now going to call the public hearing of Thursday, July 25th to order. This meeting is being convened in person and by electronic means, and as such, council members may participate in person or by electronic means. For council members participating virtually, please ensure your video is turned on. Let the clerk know if you leave the meeting. Of course, we're trying to maintain quorum. And then council members reminded that in accordance with section 14.13 of the procedure bylaw, your video must be enabled. If council members attending by electronic means lose connection during any portion of the hearing, we will recess the meeting until the connection is restored. If council members lose connection during the voting process, staff will get you back on quickly while we suspend the voting. And contact information has been circulated to you. Members of the public can view the proceedings via the live stream and YouTube link, which will be posted on X at Van City Clerk. We acknowledge that we are on the unceded homelands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. We thank them for having cared for this land and look forward to working with them in partnership as we continue to build this great city together. In case of an emergency where we need to evacuate the building, I would like to direct your attention to the exits. There are 2 exits beyond the glass doors to the left, and if these are obstructed, please direct your attention to the 4 exits in this chamber. Please use the stairs, not the elevator, and if you require accessibility assistance, please remain at your location and wait for security staff to guide you to the safe location. I'd also like to highlight that there is a defibrillator located at the end of the hallway outside of the council chamber. And I also want to take a moment to recognize the immense contributions of the City of Vancouver's team members who work hard every day to help make our city an incredible place to live, work, and play. Clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Sim is on leave of absence for civic business all day. Councillor Carr. Councillor Kirby-Young is...
Present.
Oh. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Councillor Dominato, I understand, is on leave of absence for civic business. Councillor Blythe, acting mayor in the chair. Councillor Boyle.
Present.
And Councillor Fry has a leave of absence for personal reasons. And Councillor Montague.
Present.
And Councillor Klassen, also leave of absence for civic business. Councillor Meisner. Councillor Zhou.
Present.
The hearing has quorum, acting Mayor Bly.
Thank you very much. So before we begin, I have some announcements. The public may participate by speaking in person, by phone, or by submitting written comments to Mayor and Council. Speakers will have 5 minutes to make their comments and should limit their comments to the merits of the report being considered. Speakers should also state whether they are in support or opposed to the recommendations and if they are a resident of Vancouver. Those speaking on behalf of 4 or more persons or groups, including the speaker, will have 8 minutes to speak, and only if those represented confirm by introducing themselves on the line or in person. Those who are represented by another speaker may not be individual speakers themselves. Speakers may only speak once and should follow along on X at @VanCityClerk for updates on the progress of the meeting so they don't miss their turn to speak. Any comments on agenda items can be submitted in writing through our online Mayor and Council public hearing feedback web form. This link will also be posted on X. I also want to note the City of Vancouver's longstanding commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, including utmost respect for all genders. And I remind Council that when addressing speakers and staff, we will avoid using gendered honorifics and will instead refer to the person by first and last name, role, or title. A reminder that this Council's role at a public hearing is to be a quasi-judicial body, which means Council is only to consider the merits of the rezoning application or heritage designation. Council members may ask clarifying questions from speakers, including the applicant, or technical advice from staff, but should save debate for after the close of the speakers list. After hearing from speakers, Council may 1, approve the application in principle, refuse the application, or 3, refer the application to staff for further consideration. And finally, if Council does not conclude hearing from all speakers this evening, we will recess and convene the meeting on Wednesday, July 31st at 9:30 a.m. We will start with item 1 on our agenda, rezoning 4569 Oak Street. And before we start, does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest on item 1? Seeing none, the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by Forger Architecture to rezone 4569 Oak Street from residential district to multiple dwelling district to permit a townhouse development with a maximum floor space ratio of 1.2. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval, subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing. 3 pieces in support, and this represent in opposition. 3 pieces in opposition, and that represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. So this is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak to Council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445# before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. There will be an opportunity for new speakers and missed speakers to be added to the end of the registered speakers list. And we do have staff from Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability here to present. And I also just want to note that there are no registered speakers, so Council could opt to waive the presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So move to waive the presentation and seconded by Councillor Meisner. All those in favor say yay. Any opposed say yay or nay. Okay, so that passes. Would the applicant team like to present the application? I'm not sure if the applicant team is in attendance.
This is Wayne Fougere, the applicant.
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Hi, we're happy to wait for questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you very much. So we do have the applicant team online here. Are there any questions from council to staff or the applicant team? Of course, this is your only chance to ask questions of the applicant team. And Councillor Carr, over to you.
Yes, thank you. I think it's probably for staff. The only correspondence that we got that was against this proposal cited view corridors, view cones, and that this development would block view cones. I wonder if you can enlighten me and us around whether that's the case or to what degree that's the case.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Carr. So those comments weren't technically for this particular application. They were meant for, I guess, the view cone item that passed recently. This proposal does not encroach into any view cones, as it's the height is up to 3 stories on Oak Street.
Yeah. No, they were specifically sent in on this, but I thought they might be confused too.
Yeah.
On the more general item that we had done last. So there is no, just to be very clear, there is no blocking of view cones in this. Thank
That's
you.
correct.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. That's all, Councillor Carr?
That is, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm happy to move the recommendations. Oh, sorry, we do have to do 3 calls.
We just need to do a couple more calls for speakers. No, that's okay. So we'll get there very quickly. So this is the second call for speakers. And right, and I'm just going through. So I'm going to do, there are no registered speakers, so we're going to just check if there's any speakers in the chamber on the line.
None on the line.
Okay, thank you. So I'll do our third and final call for speakers. If there's any speakers that wish to speak to this item, please call toll free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445#. And the number is also posted on X. And we will now take a 5-minute recess to wait for any additional speakers. So we will come back at 6:17. item.
Thank you, Chair. And there are no speakers on the line for item number 1. And I believe no one in the chamber for item number 1.
Okay, seeing no one approaching the podium, we can now close the speakers list. Seeing there are little or no public comments received after 5 p.m., I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. And does the applicant have any closing comments?
Here we go. Sorry. There is no questions from the applicant.
Okay, and no closing comments?
No closing comments.
Thank you very much. Does staff have any closing comments? Thank you. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none. And clerk, did we receive any additional public comments since the close of the public comments?
None.
So we'll now make a decision on the application. I'll be looking for a mover.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Kirby-Young. Is there any debate? Seeing none, we can go to a vote. And that passes with unanimous support of all those present. Thank you very much. So that completes item 1 on the agenda. We will now move to item 2, CD1 rezoning 998 East 19th Avenue. Does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest on this item? Seeing none, the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
There's an application by Catalyst Community Development Society to rezone 998 East 19th Avenue from multiple residential district to comprehensive development district to permit the development of a 6-story mixed-use building with a church on the ground floor and 105 social housing units, a floor space ratio of 2.95 and a height of 22.3 meters. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing: 7 pieces in support, 2 pieces in opposition, and that represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Great, thank you very much. This is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call 1-833-353-8610. Followed by participant code 106-1445#. Before the close of the list, and the number is also on X. There will be an opportunity for new speakers and missed speakers. We have staff from Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability here to present the application.
Great, Chair.
Yes.
Just noticing there's no speakers for this item.
Oh, that's correct.
I'm
We
happy
don't have
to
any
w-
registered speakers for this item.
I'm happy to move to waive the presentation and have it emailed to council.
Okay, that is your prerogative. So there's a motion to move to waive the presentation. Is there a seconder? Thank you. All those in favor say yay. Any opposed say nay. Okay, so thank you very much. Presentation is waived. Would the applicant team like to present the application if they are in attendance or online? Yeah, please.
Okay. Greetings. Thank you for hearing our application today. My name is Lori Ward. I'm the pastor of the Church of the Nazarene. First Church of the Nazarene is located at 19th and Windsor, which we acknowledge is part of the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Our congregation considers that corner of 19th and Windsor our home. As the people who gather there, our family. As pastor, I've been part of many congregations in my lifetime, yet none of them care and welcome better than the loving people of this congregation. The church has been stewarding this land since 1949, and we desire to stay there. Irma, now in her 90s, along with her little brother Lorne, have been part of this church since they were children. They are stayers. Many of the leaders of our church came in early adulthood and chose to put down roots and invest in this congregation for their lifetimes. Many of them are now octogenarians, and they remain deeply devoted to our church family and to our good future. We are committed to our neighborhood. In past decades, we've had thriving local ministries that press the boundaries of our facilities. Now we are an aging congregation that continues to thrive in caring for others, but in less programmatic ways. Over time, our ministry has shifted to offer our physical space as a means of meeting the needs in the community. We have made room for several other churches to share our facilities on both short and long-term bases. Over the past year, we've had the Salvation Army using our space as they have remodeled their own facility. We've been home to ESL classes, safe outreach to women in our community needing support, a comfort and hygiene station during the pandemic, recovery groups, senior cooking classes in cooperation with our neighborhood house, and local children and youth gather weekly with their scouting group, and others present their musical recitals in our sanctuary. Through this proposed project, we desire to initiate a new day of engagement with our community. Our vision is to build a sustainable church home that amplifies church ministries, including dignified, affordable housing. We have intentionally worded dignified, affordable housing as part of the ministry of the church. Our vision is not for ourselves only, but for the sake of the community in which we reside. More than 7 years ago, when we began the exploration of building housing along with the new church facility, we were motivated by the existential crisis of our aging facility and the cost of redevelopment. Through this process, however, we have seen this project as an opportunity to engage positively with the needs of our neighborhood. We are convinced that providing homes for 105 individuals and families and expanding the capacity of our church facility will create space for strengthening the social bonds of our community. We deeply appreciate the support and the assistance we've received from our partners, Catalyst Community Development Society and Motive Architects. We also appreciate the efforts of Chief Ian Campbell and the City of Vancouver staff. We respectfully request that council vote in favor of our application. Thank you.
And thank you very much. So any questions from council to staff or the applicant? This is your only opportunity to ask questions of the applicant, and I'm not seeing anyone on the queue, so we are going to now move to a second round, a second call for speakers. So if there's any speakers that wish to speak to this item, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445# before the close of the speakers list, and the number will be posted on X. Any speakers in the council chamber who would like to speak to this item, please come forward.
Okay, well, basically, I don't want to say anything, so I'm a bit embarrassed to speak to the pastor. She's done such a great job that nothing will.
May I just ask you to read your name into the record?
Pardon, say it again?
Could you say your name, please?
My name is John Colnut, Colenutt.
Thank you very much.
So there's nothing to say that has been said already, but I thought there was a couple of items that I did want to speak to the Nazarene in a couple of things that I thought about was the underground parking lot. which apparently is all being sorted out by your workers. The underground parking lot is being, there have been several lots in the parking lot, and they are in perfect order. And I put now there is a sewer. It's kind of pointless, but there is a sewer in one of the parking lots, which is being taken care of. And everything else that I would like to talk about is I'm pleased to see that the Church of the Nazarene is doing such a good job, and they always have been workers, and really I recommend them. I commend them. They've always done so well in the 15 and the 20 years I've been here, and they've done such a good job. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for coming in to speak to council on this item today. We will now just check with the clerks. Do we have any additional speakers on the line or in chambers?
Just checking. And no.
Okay. So this is the third and final call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll 31833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445# before the close of the speakers list. And any speakers in council chamber, not seeing anybody come forward, we will take a 5-minute recess to wait for any additional speakers. at the 5 minutes, and I will ask the clerks to verify if there's any new speakers to this item.
Just checking. And no new speakers.
Okay, and seeing there are no additional speakers coming to the podium here in chambers, the speakers list is now closed, and seeing there are no public comments received after 5 p.m., I'm closing the receipt of public comments. Does the applicant have any closing comments? And I'm seeing no. Thank you very much. Does staff have any closing comments? Thank you. And does council have any questions for staff? Okay, and clerks, just to verify, did we receive any additional public comments since the close of public comments?
None.
Thank you very much. So, council, we will now make a decision on this application. I'm looking for a mover.
Councillor Boyle?
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Thank you, Councillor Carr. Seconded by Councillor Carr. Is there any debate? Councillor Carr.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a few points. One, I was reading the correspondence, and there were amazingly wonderful letters in support of the Church of the Nazarene and the community work that's going on there. So I just wanted to put that on public record, that it was very heartwarming to hear those letters of support detailing the incredible community work that is being done there. So my thanks to the church and the congregation and the leadership for that work. It's obviously making a real difference in the community. I also just wanted to note that there were some letters that really praised the number of bicycle spaces that are being made available as opposed to car spaces. So good on you for that one as well. It's a lot of bike spaces that you've got in the proposal, and that this is really it's social housing, and the units that are going to be with a strong number of family units, and the units are going to be at 30% of household income, that 30% at 30%. So thank you for that deep level of needed affordability.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillor Boyle.
Thanks. I'll be brief. I know we have a long evening, but I also just wanted to say a big thank you and congratulations to the congregation and all of the partners who brought this project forward. I have been fortunate, particularly in my life before City Council as a faith leader, in working with a number of faith communities, engaging in similar conversations and starting down similar roads. I know it can be really challenging. And the result of this is beautiful. As Councillor Carr said, the correspondence that we received was really moving. So really just an expression of gratitude for the work that it has taken and the vision that you are creating and living into as a faith community. It's a real benefit for the whole city. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Boyle. Seeing no one else on the queue, we can move to a vote.
Chair, can I get a vote assist in favor, please?
Yes. Is that Councillor Boyle?
Dominato.
Oh, Councillor Dominato.
Thank you.
Okay. We just remind councillors to turn on their video when voting. That would be great. Councillor Dominato oh, great. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And that passes with unanimous support. Great. Thank you very much. We're going to move now to item number 3. CD1, text amendment, 749 West 33rd Avenue, 4865, 4885 Heather Street, 4818 Willow Street, and 4885 St. John Paul II Way. Does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest? Seeing none, we will now read the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by DOIS Architecture to amend CD1 Comprehensive Development District for 749 West 33rd Avenue, 4865 to 4885 Heather Street, 4818 Willow Street, and 4885 St. John Paul II Way to permit multiple dwelling use and increase the permitted heights to allow for a 13-story community care facility and rental residential buildings up to 14 stories. No increase in density is proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing. One piece in support. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. This is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 106-1445# before the close of the speakers list, and this number is posted on X and made available on the live stream. There will also be an opportunity for new speakers or any missed speakers, but we don't have registered speakers to this item. We do have staff from planning here to present the application, noting that there are no registered speakers for this item, and so if it is the will of council to waive the presentation.
Happy to waive the presentation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Montague, and seconded by Councillor Meisner. All those in favor say yay. Any opposed? And that carries. So we will now do, actually the applicant team, if you'd like to present the application if in attendance. Your applicant is online. Okay, great. So we'll just invite the applicant who's online to
Hopefully you can
present.
see me and hear me.
Yes, we can see and hear you.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reviewing our application. My name is Sharon Parks. I'm the Executive Director for Seniors Care at Providence Living and also at Providence Healthcare. And I wanted to present our long-term care redevelopment project. Providence Healthcare has a vision for a transformational change in the long-term care sector. Our vision is to create long-term care communities where people, so you and I, where we want to live, where we receive high quality of care and experience dignity, joy, purpose and meaning and belonging. Together with our partners at the Ministry of Health and Vancouver Coastal Health, we are committed to radically improving the environment and the experience of residents by replacing traditional care homes with genuine communities using our new model of care. In March 2023, the provincial government approved the funding for a 240-bed long-term care home facility at the old St. Vincent Heathers site to help us improve the complex needs of BC's seniors. This is located on the 33rd Avenue and Heather Street in Vancouver's South Cambie neighbourhoods. St. Vincent Heathers was built on the former site of the Providence St. Vincent's Hospital, which has served the community for 65 years before it closed. St. Vincent's Heather will replace 225 of our aging and increasingly unsuitable VCH-funded beds in our Providence homes, and will allow us to have a net new 15 single-bed rooms with wheelchair-accessible ensuite bathrooms. When it opens in 2028, St. Vincent's Heather will be operated by Providence Living, an independent non-profit organisation which was established by Providence Healthcare and St. Joseph's General Hospital in 2017. St. Vincent Heather will support residents to live their best day possible through a new social relational model of care called Home for Us. This jointly created by Providence Living and Providence Healthcare is a made in BC model of long-term care and incorporates best practices from around the world to redefine care for residents and families by shifting from a traditional institutional approach to a resident-centered model of care. The Home for Us model, residents and families will be equal partners in determining the type of care and activities most suited to them. This person-centered and mission-driven approach to long-term care is based on the concepts of a dementia-friendly village and recognizes that aging adults are more likely to thrive when they are supported to maintain their independence, social connections. By prioritizing emotional connections, individual autonomy, and residents directing their living, St. Vincent's Heather will promote active and healthy aging in a vibrant community of care where residents feel truly at home. The households will accommodate, the 20 households which will accommodate 12 residents. Households will include a shared social and recreational space that feels and functions more like a typical home that you and I live in. Within the individual households, each with its own kitchen, dining room and living room and community spaces, residents will be supported to focus on fully living their lives where they can choose to take on familiar activities such as communal meals, cooking, preparing meals, laundry, gardening, and spending time with their family members. St. Vincent Heather will include community spaces on the main floor, allowing residents, families, and visitors and staff to access recreational, social, and health services. These space services will include a cafe, an Indigenous centre, a non-denominational sacred space for cultural and spiritual care, Indigenous ceremonies and practices. There'll be a creative and exercise therapy space, library and theatre, hairdressing, a childcare centre for 37 spaces, dental and primary care services, and a community hall, which also will be available to both residents for events and used by the local community. Some of the key features of St. Vincent Heather include the 240 single bed rooms with ensuite washrooms, showers for residents, the social relational model of residents directed care, addressing the expected increase in the frailty of our future of residents and Heart's focus on dementia, focuses on freedom of movement for people within the home and neighbourhood setting. It also provides a work environment and care philosophy that is meaningful, purposeful, and fulfilling for our staff and for our residents. Individual small houses that promote cultural bonds, friendship, and social activities. The building is entirely electrified, which operates solely on Vancouver's hydrated generated electricity, eliminating the reliance on fossil fuels. And some of the key features of for the residents is single occupancy rooms, wheelchair accessible 3-piece ensuite bathrooms, ceiling lifts, individual temperature controls, and windows that allow residents from the bed or seated position to be able to see the outdoors. Those 4 specially designed suites with connecting doors which allow for couples to live together and remain together, 3 bariatric suites and 4 peritoneal dialysis suites. Each of the home resembles a home-like experience with a front door for each individual house, kitchens that look something more like you would expect to find in your own home to be able to prepare traditional meals. There is a spa and assisted bathrooms for those who want to bathe in a typical bathtub. And then there's direct access to the outdoor space. We're proud to say that we have social supportive spaces that enhance care and interactions, such as private areas for small gatherings as well as large gatherings. Each of the rooms will have a fireplace resembling something that you might find at your own home, something that's cozy and more home-like. And one of the biggest things that we're proud of, that while presenting a place that looks like home, we also can create the highest levels of clinical standards, which our residents and families expect. There are a number of urban design features, including the new accessible public plaza on 33rd Avenue. There's pedestrian and bicycle routes facilitating accessible and active transportation. And we are retaining the wooded area in the corner of the lot. I do have members of my team here with me today from the architects if you have further questions. Thank you for letting me present.
Thank you very much for connecting virtually to present. We are now moving to any questions from council to staff or the applicant team? Seeing none, I'm going to make my second call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, participant code 1061445#, and the phone number will be posted on X. And if there are any speakers in the chamber, please come to the podium now. And seeing none, clerks, do we have any speakers on the line?
No.
Okay, so this is the third and final call for speakers. If there are any speakers who wish to speak to this item, please call please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445#. And the phone number will be posted. And we will now take a 5-minute recess to wait for any additional speakers, and we'll come back at 6:53. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. And I'll just check with the clerks if there are any new speakers.
None.
Okay, thank you very much. And seeing no additional speakers coming to the podium, we will now close the speakers list. And seeing there are little or no public comments received after 5 p.m., I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. Does the applicant have any closing comments?
No further comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And staff, any closing comments? Thank you. Any questions to staff, council? Councillor Carr.
Yeah, thanks. Just one quick question arising again out of correspondence that came into us, which was a request around whether or not there was going to be any dedicated space for drop-off and pick-up parking. There was a suggestion on 33rd Avenue. So I'm just wondering if, oops, maybe it wasn't supposed to be to you, but to...
Yeah, there's required parking within the underground. So the agreement that the city gets into with the applicant will require that there are drop-off spaces, but they'll be located in the underground, which would be accessed from a new road off of Heather Street.
Okay, not on 33rd.
No.
Okay. It's a narrow road, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Great, thank you very much. And
Happy to move the recommendations.
That's great. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Montague. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Just Councillor Carr, if you want to sorry, just a second, Councillor Carr. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly. This is a great project. I'm very excited about the development. I love the concept too of including the childcare, the youth with elderly, sorry, the retention of many of the trees, almost all of the trees. I mean, there's very few that are intended to come down, which is great. It creates for a wonderful space. The idea of a real home, with as you say, the front door, the kitchen, the facilities there that make you realize you are in your own space. Kudos on the whole concept here. I think it's a really solid one and will really contribute to very good quality of life. So, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And Councillor Montague.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'll be very brief. I hardly, or if ever, speak at the end of applications like this. I usually just put my vote for, but I did want to say this, St. Vincent's was the hospital I was born at, and it's been just very interesting to see the continued progress of this property and what looks like a very well thought out proposal. So I'm going to be happy to support it. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Councillor Montague, and we can go to a vote.
Sarah, if I could get a vote system favor, please.
Yes. Just want to make sure all the videos are on of those that, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to see on this. Yes, okay, great. Thank you so much. And so that motion that does pass with unanimous support. So thank you very much to staff and the applicant. We are now moving to item 4, which is CD1 rezoning 800 Commercial Drive. Does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest before we hear from our clerk? Okay, please go ahead, clerk. We will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by the City of Vancouver to rezone 800 Commercial Drive from Residential District to Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of a 15-story mixed-use building with commercial on the ground floor and 93 social housing units. A floor space ratio of 8.19 and a height of 50.1 meter are proposed. General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval subject to conditions set on the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referred to public hearing: 10 pieces in support, 6 pieces in opposition, and 1 piece dealing with other aspects. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. And this is the first call for speakers. Any speakers who wish to call, please do so toll free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445 pound before the close of the speakers list. And the phone number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. We do have staff from Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability here to present the application. And also just noting that the City of Vancouver is also the applicant for this item. Hey, Councillor Montague.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I do notice that there is one speaker, but since there's only one, I'm happy to move a recommendation to waive presentation and have it emailed to council. If I can do that.
Okay, and so just, that's been seconded, and I'm not seeing any objections. All those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. So thank you. We'll waive the presentation, but of course we will now hear, actually, let me just track where I am at. Okay, so are there any questions? Actually, sorry, just bear with me for a moment. Okay, so we also, as the applicant is also the city, we've waived the presentation for the staff, but I would just want to be very clear, we also intending to waive the presentation for the applicant. Okay, and if there's no objection, thank you very much. All those in favor say yay.
Sorry, can I have a point of procedure, Chair?
Yes, Councillor Kirby. Yeah.
Can you clarify, Chair, if council can waive, or is it not the applicant's right to just accept or decline if they want to? I don't know that we can, that's my question, that we can take the right away from the applicant to present.
Yes, I'm just looking at the applicant here in Chambers, who is also our city staff, Ryan Bigelow. Feel free to indicate. Yeah, they're okay with it.
Okay, thanks. That's helpful. We don't have a video.
You don't have a video of the full gallery, I understand. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Thank you.
that's great. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so are there any questions from council to staff and the applicant? Also staff. And seeing none, I'm going to, sorry, Councillor Meisner.
It's okay, I came on late. Thanks, Chair. Question for staff was around, I noted the Kettle Society site, I guess, to the south. And there's a pedestrian walkthrough in between the two sites. I'm just wondering if that will be delivered as part of this particular rezoning.
So the conceptual site diagram in the Granby Woodland Community Plan does show possibility for pedestrianization of the lane. That is not being sought in this rezoning application. However, the city does intend to close the right-of-way on Commercial Drive between the parkade access of this project and Adenac Street and create a plaza in the future. Starting with a temporary public plaza with capital funding will become a permanent one, but that's independent of the rezoning application.
Okay, and just to confirm, Commercial Drive, that section is not actually really the curved part of Commercial Drive where there's lots of traffic with buses and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the straight portion on the west side of the site. The diversion is the one that curves.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you very much, Councillor Meisner. So I will now, seeing no one else on the queue for questions, make my second call for speakers. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by code 1061445 pound. Before the close of the speakers list, the phone number is posted on X. It is also in the live stream. Any speakers in chamber who would like to address this item can come forward. Yes, hello, if you wouldn't mind. Oh, sorry, you are a registered speaker.
I'm a registered
One
speaker.
Registered
right.
speaker, thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan Montserrat.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, I'm a resident of the neighborhood. I live on Georgia and Commercial, right next door, and I'll be moving to Adenac and Commercial at the end of this year. And so I just had some questions around what type of social housing this building is going to accommodate, and all of my questions were answered by Lillian while waiting outside to speak. So I'm very happy, very supportive of this project. You know, as a young father and someone that has found finding housing in the city very challenging. I think having more density and having more units available is awesome, and we need to support exactly the kinds of residents that are proposed to be in this building. So I'm really for more social housing, just more housing and more density in general. I'm really excited for this project. Now, I'd say the only comment I have, which is kind of off topic, but mildly related, is Woodland Park. Since my 2.5-year-old son and my 2-week-old daughter will eventually be playing in that playground, it needs some TLC. It's been like 4 decades, I think.
Okay, we take your point. We
Thanks.
have to keep the conversation to this application, but thank you so much, Ryan, for coming in to speak to council on this item. Okay, great. So I've made the second call. Clerks, do we have any speakers on the line?
None.
Thank you. So we will now make the final call for speakers. If there are any that wish to speak to council on this item, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by code 1061445#. And the number is available on X and also the live stream. And we will now take a 5-minute recess. We'll be back at 10 minutes past 7 p.m. Okay, so that brings 5 minutes, and I'll just verify with the clerks whether or not there are any additional speakers on the line.
No further speakers.
Okay, thank you. So seeing there are no additional speakers, the speakers list is now closed. And seeing there are little or no public comments received after 5 p.m., I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. Does staff have any closing comments?
No closing comments. Thanks.
Okay, and staff team from the applicant side?
No closing comments. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. And then council, any questions for staff?
Chair, happy to move the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Kirby-Young.
Second.
I seconded by Councillor Zhou. Any debate? Councillor Meisner.
Yeah, I'll just make some comments. I think that this is a fantastic proposal. It's 93 social housing units. But what I think really stands out about it is the amazing design. I think it's a super attractive building, and I'm really proud that it's involving the city of Vancouver. Looks like the materials on the exterior are very high quality, including brick. I also like the semi-private outdoor space, which are essentially large balconies in front of the entrance to each of the suites where people can have seating and planters and that sort of thing, and also engage with their neighbors as they walk by. So I just think overall a really outstanding project that's going to deliver badly needed social housing to this neighborhood. So I'm really happy to support it.
Great. Thank you very much, Councillor Meisner. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go to a vote, please. And if anybody would need a vote assist, please let us know. You can also turn your cameras on.
I'll take a vote assist in favor, please, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Dominato. And that passes with unanimous support. So thank you very much. We're now going to move to item 5. CD1 rezoning 2096 West Broadway and 2560-2576 Arbutus Street. Does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest on this item? Seeing none, the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
There's an application by PCI Developments to rezone 2096 West Broadway and 2560 to 2576 Arbutus Street from C3A Commercial District and C8 Commercial District to CD1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of a 330-story mixed-use building with 260 rental units, of which 20% would be secured at below market rents and commercial uses. A floor space ratio of 11.3 and a height of 90.8 meter are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referred to public hearing: 20 pieces in support, 7 pieces in opposition, and 1 piece dealing with other aspects. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. So this is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445# before the close of the speakers list. And the number will be posted on X and made available on the live stream. We do have staff from Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability here to present the application. We do have a number of registered speakers, so please go ahead, staff, with your presentation.
Thank you. Can you see the presentation? Excellent. Good evening, Council. My name is Lievke Vissers, and I'm the planner for this rezoning application being considered under the Broadway Plan. The site, indicated in red, is comprised of 2 blocks located on the southeast corner of the intersection of West Broadway and Arbutus Street. The Arbutus Greenway is located to the east of the site, and the Arbutus Broadway station will be located north across Broadway. An east-west city-owned lane with underground infrastructure runs through the site. The lane is indicated here in orange.
Zone C3A and C8 commercial, the property is developed with 1- and 2-story commercial buildings. There are no residential tenants on this site. Neighboring sites along Broadway and Arbutus are primarily zoned commercial with CD1 zone sites and RT districts spanning further from the site. Within close proximity are a number of open spaces and community spaces, including the Kitsilano Community Center and Arbutus Greenway Park. As mentioned, the Arbutus Broadway subway station will be located north of the site across Broadway. On June 26, Council approved the TOA Transit-Oriented Areas bylaw and the TOA rezoning policy to align with provincial legislation. This site is located within 200 meters of the TOA catchment for the Arbutus station, which envisions a density up to 5.5 FSR and up to 20 stories in height. For this site, the Broadway plan allows for density and height beyond that of the TOA. The enabling policy is the Broadway plan. The site is located within the Broadway Arbutus South Area A sub-area of the plan and requires the following rental housing development requirements. 20% of the residential floor area must be secured at below market rents. A maximum FSR of 10.5 and a height of 30 stories are enabled. Active retail along Broadway and Arbutus is required, and all 3 levels of non-residential job space are required. For development specifically at 2096 West Broadway, the plan identifies provision of secondary station entrance. The plan also notes flexibility for the minimum non-residential floor space, given the shallow and constrained site, as well as the station integration priorities. The application was submitted on June 13th of 2023 for a 30-story mixed-use building with rental, residential, and commercial uses. The new building proposes 260 rental housing units, with 20% of those at below market rents. A portion of the commercial space is proposed to be occupied by the Kalal community, a registered charity. The proposal also includes accommodations for secondary entrance, the Broadway Arbutus subway station. A total FSR 11.3 and a height of 298 feet are proposed. With a density of 11.3 FSR, the proposal exceeds the maximum 10.5 FSR anticipated under the plan. But as the development makes concessions and accommodations for future secondary subway station entrance, and given the nominal resulting impacts of the overall massing, staff recommends support for this density increase. Vehicle and bicycle parking, as well as residential storage, are located underground with access from Arbutus Street. Closure of a portion of the lane between Broadway and West 10th Avenue is also proposed as part of the application. The process to close that portion of the lane would only advance if Council approves this rezoning application. Space for secondary station entrance will be located on the west side of the adjacent site, adjacent to the Transit Plaza. This secondary entrance is the result of a significant collaboration between the applicant, TransLink, and the city. The project proposes 20% of the residential floor area to be below market rents, which will be secured through a housing agreement. Below market rents are based on 20% discount to citywide average market rents and will target moderate income households. Rents for below market units, based on CMHC data from the 2023 rental market survey, and incomes they would serve are shown in green. Average market rents in newer rental buildings on the west side are shown in the right-hand column in blue. The market rental housing component will provide options that are more affordable than homeownership. The standard 2-week virtual open house period was held in late September of last year. 289 pieces of correspondence were received through the application review process. Comments of support for the proposal noted that the height and density is appropriate given proximity to transit. Support was also expressed for the inclusion of secondary station entrance as well as provision of below-market rental housing in the area. Comments of concern noted the need for more affordable housing options and the proposed height and massing not fitting within the neighborhood context. There were also concerns that an increase in vehicular and pedestrian traffic to the areas could be concerning. In response to concerns about increased vehicle and pedestrian traffic, engineering has reviewed the application, and conditions in Appendix B have been included to address traffic and safety concerns. Some of these conditions include street improvements from around the site, upgrading sidewalks, and upgrades to intersections nearby. The proposed height, scale, and uses, and the proportion of below-market rental units are consistent with the intent of the plan. The public benefit provided for this project is the provision of 260 secured rental units,
as well as 20% of those rental units being below market rent. The application was subject to a negotiated CAC process. Staff reviewed the application and the cost of securing the rental housing, as well as the 20% of housing at below market rents, determined that there was no CAC expected. The project will also deliver approximately $3.3 million in DCLs and $450,000 in public art contributions. In conclusion, the project advances the city's rental housing targets and aligns with the plan. The project also provides space for future secondary entrance to the Broadway Subway Arbutus Station and Public Plaza. Staff support the proposal, subject to conditions outlined in Appendix B of the report. Staff and the applicant are available to answer questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Would the applicant team like to present the application?
Good evening, Chair Bly and councillors. I'm Tim Grant from PCI Developments. Just really quickly wanted to thank staff, both the Broadway Plan team and the rezoning team for working with us. Of course, our partner TransLink, which we're really excited to be partnering with in this development. And then the Colel, who's a really great community organization that we're really pleased to be able to find a permanent home here. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. And council, are there any questions for staff or the applicant, recognizing this is the only time you get to ask questions of the applicant? Councillor Carr.
Yes, thank you. Question for the applicant. I noticed that there is a $450,000 contribution for public art. The Broadway plan has a direction or a directive to incorporate Indigenous art, language, and history into the landscape. I'm wondering if you are contemplating at all following that direction from the Broadway plan in terms of Indigenous art in specific.
Absolutely, we'd love that, and you know, we are only a part of the public art process. That's kind of city led, but certainly will be within the keeping of that process. So we're very aware of that requirement. One of our other developments in the Broadway plan's got a really exciting element that's going to be public soon that very much addresses that. So we're hopeful for a similarly successful process on this one as well.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. Chair, if I could ask that same question of staff.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Carr. The applicant has the opportunity to provide either the public art contribution in cash or in lieu, or as art. And the city does have a process through which the art is selected. The artists, should the applicant go through the city's process with a cash contribution, I imagine that our art team would make considerations for the priorities listed in that policy.
Yeah, it listed in the plan, actually in the Broadway plan. Right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Councillor Montague.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to know if I heard that correctly. Did you say that during your presentation that the application was received in June of 2023? Or did I completely mishear that?
Thank you for the question. Yes, that was when the application was received.
Okay, and that was from start to finish, like this isn't a reapplication or like that's from start to finish?
That's from start to finish, yes. The application process occurred in just over a year.
Great, thank you. That's it.
Great, thank you very much.
Chair, quick point of privilege. Can I be added for question, please? I don't have a queue.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Councillor Carr-Beyond.
Yeah, thank you. Picking up on Councillor Montague's question, which was mine as well about the year, and the question directed to the applicant was, how did you find the process? Was this, because I think you had a development at Broadway and Granville that was in advance of the Broadway plan being confirmed and developed by council, and then you have this one. Did you find that it was easier or quicker?
Thank you, Councillor Kirby-Young. I can say that so far this process has been easier than Broadway and Granville. I think Broadway and Granville might be quite a unique example to compare it against, but absolutely, the benefit of having what's been spelled out in the Broadway plan has been helpful, and I think allowed for good alignment with staff as we work through the process. As always, we'd say we'd love to be here at public hearing sooner, but that's the same discussion that you hear all the time. So thank you.
Oh, and maybe just a quick follow-up on that. I know that the Broadway and Granville was a large project, a unique one, but in general, I know PCI does a lot of projects in the city. Is it helpful to have sort of the defined plan with the explicit requirements? Is that what's kind of taking away for the variability, having the specificity?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yes, the challenge for sites like this, and similar to Broadway and Granville, they're unique sites, particularly when you add in elements of transit. So there's lots of complexity involved. I'd say also, we've been active with staff on this site all the way through the later stages of the Broadway plan. We put in a rezoning inquiry as soon as we were able to, which was a couple of months after the passing of the Broadway plan. And from what I understood, we were one of the first rezoning applications to be submitted. So although it's been 1 year since our formal application,
You had done a lot of work prior to that.
there's been a lot of
it
work.
sounds like.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Got it. And how long? A few years?
We were, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're July 24 right now. So it's certainly, we were active well before the completion of the Broadway plan, which was spring of 22, I believe. So yeah, certainly 2.5, 3 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby-Young. And I have myself on the queue for questions. Questions to staff, and I might have missed it in the report, was just related to 35% of the units are geared towards families. 25% of the units are 2-bedroom, so could also arguably be for a family. Just noting the schools in the area, I think there's a French immersion and then high school and then mostly independent and private schools. I wonder if you can just clarify what is the catchment elementary school for this area and what's their sort of future anticipated capacity? And then second to that, in the Broadway plan, there was an amendment that we would engage with the Vancouver School Board as applications came forward in the Broadway plan to ensure that facilities planning can be accounted for as we see these projects come forward, and wondering if that's happened, and if not, will it be happening soon?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. The schools in this catchment area are all operating below capacity. That is, they have extra capacity available. And the school's long-term planning process estimates they'll still have capacity and be operating under capacity as far out as 2031, which is the latest they have estimates for. And could you please repeat the second part of your question?
It's really just about our engagement with facilities planning and the Vancouver School Board as it relates to projects within the Broadway plan that are bringing significant density to areas that would not maybe have otherwise had that. It's a part of one of the amendments, as Councillor Carr mentioned, in the Broadway plan approval was amending to plan for school capacity.
Thank you for the question. John Grottenberg, who worked on the Broadway plan, is able to answer that question as they did work with the school board.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor, for the question. John Grottenberg, Broadway Plan Team. So we have had regular and ongoing discussions and engagement with BSB planning staff through the Broadway plan process, and since then through plan implementation. And we'll be engaging with them further this fall as we work towards a report to Council in November with an update on Broadway plan implementation, a number of initiatives that we have underway, and planning for schools is certainly an important part of that.
Okay, great. One last quick follow-up, and this is to our staff. And just noting that there's no displacement of existing rental on this site. Did that have a factor in terms of how this application was processed? Recognizing that one of the risks we have within the Broadway plan is ensuring that there is new rental and affordable rental as sort of the future of the 30-year plan starts to be built out, and there is no displacement here, which would be seen as, I think, a feature.
This is Michelle Vanoy from Housing Policy and Regulation. There is no displacement on this site of any. There were no tenants. It was, so there is no tenant relocation plan on this site.
No, I understand that. My question was more so about the consideration of that fact as we bring, as we process these applications that don't have displacement, if there is a factor in terms of how quickly they move through the process, recognizing that if we can enable more affordable new rental, it supports the growth of the entire Broadway plan over the next 10, 15 years.
I think Leifka is going to answer that question for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. During the review process of any application, whether there are tenants or aren't tenants, a number of factors take an extended period of time. Generally, we see applications falling within the target timeframe for rezonings of 12 to 16 months regularly, regardless of whether there are tenant relocation processes or not. So it's hard to determine whether those specifically would have changed the pace of this project.
Okay, okay. Helpful. Thank you so much. Those are all my questions, and I'm not seeing anyone else on the list. So I will actually make my second call for speakers. If there's any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445#. Before the close of the speakers list, the phone number is annexed and the live stream. And we do have registered speakers to this item, so I am going to start to move us through that list. Speaker number 1 is Stéphane LaRose. I'll call speaker number 1, Stéphane LaRose.
Yes, this is Stéphane LaRose.
Oh, great. Please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I'd just like to say that I live in the neighborhood and actually passed by the site on my way dropping off my kids at school along 10th Avenue there. And that's how I first came to know about the site, as well as attending a developer-sponsored open house. And so I really appreciate that we're going to be developing that site into something more than what it is right now, because I feel like it's quite underutilized. And also would like to identify that I'm in favor of the Broadway plan in general. And we've seen, different proposals come through in the neighborhood, and we have going to be introducing this type of density into the area right around the transit station, which I think is a good idea. As the Broadway plan is actualized over the next 30 years, the neighborhood will stand to benefit from added housing, improved access to transit, and the new restaurants and stores that come along with development activity, such as some of the proposed retail spaces in this particular development. The future development will make much better use of this site with significant contributions to rental and moderate income housing, as well as retail at grade, as well as a key feature about activating the greenway. And also, if you think about that building that was built, the Pinnacle Living building on Broadway, it was set back at an angle there at the liquor store to create a plaza. So this is kind of like filling out and finishing off that particular urban design there along the Broadway corridor and along the Arbutus corridor. And I'm pleased to see that city planning staff and council have continued to make progress in advancing the city's housing goals and policies. And I'm excited by the new investment in transit infrastructure in our community. As a neighbor down the street from the site, I look forward to the retail amenities that are proposed to be incorporated in the development, and would love to see a new cafe or bakery open up there. I hope that the city will usher this application to construction. Thank you very much. That completes my comments.
And thank you very much for calling in today. We'll move to speaker number 2, Gordon Allen Wogberg.
Just double checking, but it appears speaker number 2 is not on the line.
Thank you. Speaker 3, Jeff Shafran.
Hello?
Hi there, we can hear you. Please feel free to start when you're ready.
Thank you very much. I'm calling in on behalf of the COLO, who's been working with PCI and TransLink on the development. Hello, Mayor and Council. Appreciate your time. I'm speaking on behalf of the COLO. We've been working on this project for 18 plus months now, and we're looking forward to this development going forward. It will provide housing, which is much needed in the community, ground floor retail, and it will promote the use of transit and housing being in symmetry and working together. The COLO has been part of the community in the area here since 2000. And just a little bit about our organization and who we are. The Kollel is an inclusive community. We offer quality modern Jewish education programs and events. We exist to provide meaningful social, cultural, educational programs that invite people to experience Judaism in an inclusive, comfortable, joyful, non-judgmental environment. The word Kollel means inclusiveness, and that's what we're best known for. It's a warm, welcoming environment that has a very, very friendly atmosphere. We currently have over 350 members, many of whom use transit to access our programs and services. We currently operate out of a site that's a couple blocks away. It's about 2,500 square feet, and we've outgrown our space about 5 or 10 years ago, and we've been looking, for a space in this area that will be around the future transit to grow. In this new site, we will have over 8,600 square feet, and we'll really give the Kollel its own identity at the corner of 10th and Arbutus, and will give us more space for classes, prayer services, ground level restaurant or cafe that will provide kosher food for our community members, which is much needed in Greater Vancouver and specifically in the neighborhood. We currently have about 150 events a year and over 700 classes a year, and we could easily, at least for events, we could go to over 250 events, and I think we could have over 1,000 classes a year if we just had more space right now. So once this project is completed, we're very much looking forward to growing with the building and the community. A larger space will help us accommodate members who currently face challenges with proximity and access. With improved facilities and transportation options, more members will be able to participate in our programs. And additionally, having new rental housing nearby will help integrate more individuals into our community, enhancing their sense of belonging. We're very excited about securing this new home and growing with the community for years to come. We're very proud of this project, the benefits it will bring, not just to the Kollel, but to the broader community, and the creation of 260 new homes, including below market rental housing and family-sized apartments, which will help serve our community as well. Thank you very much for the opportunity to comment, and we hope that you will support us. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. There are no questions. We'll move to speaker number 4, Davis Osterberry.
Hello.
Hi there, we can hear you. Please feel free to start when you're ready.
Perfect. My name is Davis Osterberry, and I live fairly close to the project being discussed and would like to offer my support. While I understand that some residents of the West Side may have concerns about the scale of new developments being planned following the introduction of the Broadway plan, change is inevitable, and whether people like it or not, and I think we need to embrace it. People, both young and old, can't afford to live here, and we have growing problems with traffic congestion, climate change, and these issues need to be addressed or things will only keep getting worse. Here we have an opportunity to generate a significant contribution of new rental and moderate income homes with direct integration to rapid transit, which is quite unique. This project's aligned with the city plans and the province's housing mandates and supports our goals around reducing climate change and climate impacts through the promotion of multimodal transportation, and couldn't be in a better location. The aging buildings on this property are ripe for renewal, and this location is an ideal for added rental housing based on its proximity to UBC, VGH, Women's and Children's, St. Augustine's, restaurants, parks, and of course the subway line, which should be operational before the completion of this building. These rental homes will be a great option for the thousands of people that work in and around Broadway Corridor, among others who want to live in the neighborhood. The moderate income housing that is proposed to be built here will be a huge benefit to future residents, many of whom may already be working in the neighborhood and struggling to find somewhere to live. Thank you for the opportunity to address Council.
Thank you very much for calling in. There are no questions. We appreciate hearing from you. We're going to move to speaker number 5, Dennis Agar.
Hi again. Thanks for having me back. Probably no surprise, but I'm speaking in support of this project. It's so exciting. It's such a slam dunk. And to hear on the line today that the elementary schools nearby have extra space is just gravy. Ultimately, this is the kind of project that we need to see on the transit network. Not only does it shift mode share away from cars by putting people as close as possible to transit, but it, I think, strengthens the transit network, right? It puts more destinations, like those stores in the base, are going to be places that are really easy for people to get to by transit. You know, in an evening out, you might decide, oh, I'll just take the train to Arbutus and hang out by the Greenway. It's going to be lovely. So hugely in support of this, and I wonder if we can find ways to make these kinds of projects with TransLink happen more and at a faster pace, that we can help to fill the fiscal cliff that TransLink is currently undergoing. So yeah, and I just want to flag for you all that once the Broadway subway opens, as far as I know, the 16 bus will be serving this location, and it'll be hanging a left from Broadway to Arbutus. It's the kind of thing that, you know, can be incorporated into the design of the street to make sure that 16 moves quickly and reliably. And yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much for calling in. So I'm going to make my third and final call for speakers. If there are any speakers who wish to. Oh, great. Okay, I'm just going to make that call, and then I'm going to ask you to come to the microphone. So any speakers who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 106-1445# before the close of the speakers list. And the phone number is posted on X and made available in the live stream. And any speakers in the council chamber, please come forward to the podium now.
Thank you very much. My name is Gilbert Lavac. Last name is spelled L-A-R-O-C-Q-U-E, first initial G. I've lived 200 meters or yards from the site for the last 23 years. Okay, and my question is for staff and developer. It has to do with that future subway entrance. That's very interesting to me. And the question is this going to be a fully accessible public entrance? By that I mean, will anybody from the public be able to use it, or is it going to be more for the residents or the user of the building? And the other one, is it going to be accessible? That's a problem we have with some of the stations downtown where someone wants to use the entrance. There's no elevator. They only have stairs, and they don't even have escalators. The reason I say that is that, it's because my wife's going to be using this. I don't want her to cross Broadway in Arbutus. As has already been mentioned by staff, it's a very busy intersection. There's been deaths there. There was a motorcycle accident not so many years ago. The same thing at Maple. There was another unfortunate accident 12, 15 years ago before the construction of the Pinnacle occurred. And with the 16, the previous speaker mentioned, the 16 bus will have to make a very tight turn to get onto Arbutus. And Arbutus is one of the few arteries that goes from water to water. The Arbutus, West Boulevard, and Angus Drive corridor has a lot of traffic right now, and I expect it's going to be more because people will want to get to the station to get downtown or get to the SkyTrain. So that's the question. There's also some seniors residents on the south side of Broadway. There's the O'Keefe, and there's quite a population there. You see walkers and strollers and wheelchairs all the time. So the entrance, on some of the documentation, it's not mentioned, so I'm glad to hear today was mentioned, but it doesn't, and there was no clarity as to whether everybody's going to be able to use it. That's a problem in Toronto. Some of the entrances are there, but are only for a few residents of buildings. So that's my worry. And the other one is, will everybody be able to be accessible? Thank you for hearing. And I do support the project. I think it's very needed. That site is severely underdeveloped.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And there's some notes being taken on those questions, so we'll be sure to clarify those when the time comes. Okay, any other speakers?
We do have, I believe, 2 more speakers on the line.
Okay, so we are going to hear from the speakers now. So if the first speaker can please come off of mute and say your name. And if you're a resident of Vancouver, please.
So Henry, go first.
You got it. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Fantastic. Good evening, Acting Mayor and Council. My name is Henry McQueen. I'm just calling in to register my support for the proposed project. I work in planning and development, but I'm calling in today as someone who grew up nearby, attended Kitts High School down the street, and has spent a great deal of time in the neighborhood and riding the beeline. As a former renter and with a young family, making a go of it in Vancouver, I'm very much in support of rental housing options like this, both market and non-market options at scale and on a major transit investment. I'm also really pleased to see PCI as the applicant. I know they can execute. They've got a great history of doing this, and I know they'll take great care of this corner in this neighborhood. Lastly, I just want to commend staff for looking at opportunities to go beyond the guiding policy, given the benefits to the area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We do have one more speaker, I believe, who's called in to speak to this item.
So Gio, if you could go next, please.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you. Would you mind stating your first and last name and if you're a resident of Vancouver?
Yeah, my name is Gio Lee. I'm a resident of Vancouver. I think everyone else already said what I wanted to say, so we'll keep it short. Yeah, I want to show my support for this project, and I think it's going to be really great for the community. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And I see that there is one more speaker who is called in. Please go ahead.
Sorry, Chair Blythe, they actually disconnected, so that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I am just getting a note from the clerks. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, so we will take our 5-minute break to wait to see if there are any additional speakers. We'll come back at 7:52.
Just checking, Chair. I think, yes, we have one speaker.
Okay, so the additional speaker who has called in, please feel free to come off of mute and please let us know your first and last name and if you're a resident of Vancouver, and then you may begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, great. My name is Christina Florencio, and I'd like to voice my support of the development at West Broadway in Arbutus. I live in Vancouver and own a business in the Broadway corridor. Can I keep going, or do you need any more info?
Yes, please go. Okay, please continue. You have.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. It's clear that Vancouver has a housing shortage. I've experienced it myself in trying to find a place to live, and I've experienced it as a business owner by way of attended robberies by displaced people coming into the store and posing a risk not only to myself but to my staff. It's clear we need more housing, and this project is a great start with over 250 new rental homes across the street. From the future Arbutus SkyTrain station. It's clear transit stations are where we need to build more towers. I looked up some stats. Back in 2023, BC had over 50,000 new housing starts, which sounds like a lot, but when you realize that in the same time period, our population grew over 178,000 people. So there's no wonder we're experiencing a housing crisis. We need more development, especially along Broadway with the new subway line. We simply can't complain about a housing crisis without approving more housing. Please support this project. I'm very excited to see this project come up, and I look forward to new residents and living along the corridor and supporting local businesses. Thank you for your time.
And thank you very much for calling in. Clerks, do we have any other callers?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. So seeing there are no additional speakers, the speakers list is now closed. Seeing there are little or no public comments received after 5 p.m., I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. And does the applicant have any closing comments? Thank you very much. And does staff have any closing comments?
Do not have any closing comments.
Okay. Council, any questions for staff? Councillor Montague.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Actually, we heard a couple of questions from one of the speakers that came in tonight about accessibility for the transit station that's on the secondary transit station. I'm just wondering if staff could respond to that.
Thank you for the question. We have a member of our transit integration team on the line to answer that question.
Hi, my name is Howie Jang from Transit Integration Projects Engineering. So we're in close working relationship with TransLink's facilities design team and the applicant to deliver the secondary station entrance in the future. The station entrance is fully intended to serve both the residents as well as the general public. And this will be built out with considerations for accessibility, such as elevators, escalators, and staircases. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Montague. I just had a quick follow-up question prompted by some of the speakers, and that is related to the safety or any safety improvements of that intersection. It was mentioned about sort of the narrow turning radius, and I also live in this neighborhood and have for a very long time over the years. So it is it's mildly appropriate based on the traffic flow right now. I'm not sure how that might change. So any comments from staff would be helpful.
Thank you. We have Rosemary on the line from Transportation to answer that question.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Bly. Rosemary Jaskovich, Senior Technical Manager for Development Transportation Planning. So we do have a number of transportation safety improvements conditioned for the site to deliver as conditions of enactment. At the intersection of Broadway and Arbutus itself, there are some signal improvements that'll be conditioned through this site, but the majority of work that'll be happening there will be through the Broadway subway project and kind of improvements to the Arbutus Greenway, kind of near that intersection once it is kind of fully operational again and the station to the north is occupied. And then, of course, any geometry to that intersection will accommodate any of the traffic that needs to come through there. So the buses, of course, will be accommodated through that intersection.
Okay, thank you very much. I just have one other follow-up, and that is related to the extended deliverable or the delivery time of the subway. I think it's fall 2027, and the timing of completion of this building. Wasn't able to ask the applicant, but do we suspect that the building completion and the subway opening will be planned in concert, given the integration with the SkyTrain itself?
Thank you for the question. The subway SkyTrain station, the primary station for this location, is intended to open on time. This application doesn't specify a time frame for build out, and perhaps Howie can answer this question a little bit more succinctly than I can. But this, if built, will offer a space for a secondary transit station if required in the future. So it's not intended to be the primary transit station for this location. It's intended to be an extra transit station for if in the future a station is required or an access is required across the street.
Okay. So not fully integrated like Broadway and Granville. Got it. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. That's all from me. So that brings us to the end of the questions queue. And Council, it's now time to make a decision on this application. Any mover, please? Can I get a mover?
Happy to move.
I've got Councillor Meisner moved and then Councillor Kirby-Young seconded. And any debate? Councillor Meisner.
Thanks so much, Chair. I'd like to thank all the speakers who came out tonight to speak in support of this project. I think this is a really exciting project, which is a preview of what's to come on the Broadway subway line. In particular, this will bring 260 new rental units to the market in an area where there aren't many new rental units, and 20% of those being below market. I also really appreciate the integration with the future transit station. I think that is fantastic, and it's great to see that collaboration happening with TransLink, as well as the Kalel community space, which I know is going to be very beneficial to the community. But I'm also really pleased to hear that this project only took a year from application to public hearing, and that's where we want to get to with our 3331 permitting approval speeding up project. That's not the technical name, but I think this is a great project, going to bring a lot of much needed rental housing to Vancouver right on top of transit. So I'm really happy to support this tonight.
Great, thank you very much, Councillor Meisner. And I will actually just ask Councillor Carr if you could take the chair, just so I could provide some closing comments. We're a little short handed in here tonight, so the deputy mayor, okay. So if you could just do that, thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Bly.
I feel compelled to speak to this project because it is. I think there's a lot of benefits to this particular project in its location, and I think this is a very exciting area of the Broadway plan, as it is the terminus for the existing extension as planned right now. There's the local parks, the rec center, the schools in the community, the capacity for the schools, the direct line down to Kitts Beach. This is an amazing neighborhood to have a new rental and below market rental added to it, and much needed, actually. I think the density of this building is actually quite appropriate. It's going to be a big change, but given the Arbutus Greenway, the rapid transit line, and again, the the public benefit coming back to the community and below market and the public art. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this this building sort of comes to fruition, particularly integrating some of the active transportation network that's adjacent to this site. And again, I think it's really, really important. I appreciate staff are accelerating, or not even accelerating, just doing really great work at speeding up these applications and getting them in front of council. So that's just awesome to see. But I think particularly seeing no displacement and the significance of the number of units that are coming into with this building, that's going to help us deliver on the TRPP that we've committed to with the Broadway plan and make sure that there are available units in the area for existing tenants to move to. And I think that offers some peace of mind. Of course, it's not a silver bullet. It's not a perfect solution, but we have to keep pushing on. I think where we can find sites that do not have any displacement to then build new rental to support the current residents in that area, transitioning into new options. So lots of huge wins, I'd say, with this, and very much look forward to seeing its final product in the future. So thank you very much, Councillor Carr.
Over to you.
And with that, we can go to a vote.
Chair, I'll take a vote. Is this in favor, please? It's Councillor Dominato.
Thank you, Councillor Dominato. And that passes with unanimous support. So thank you very much.
I just wanted to confirm that you heard my request for a vote. This is in favor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby-Young. That is indicated on the voting list, although I did not hear it myself, so perhaps the clerk's heard, so that's great. Okay, thank you. So
Can I just ask for clarification, because it looks on that screen it went quickly. I was marked as absent. I just want to verify.
Oh,
I just would appreciate that.
Absolutely. I see that you voted in favor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Great. So that brings us to the end of item 5. So thank you, staff. Thank you, applicant and council. We are now moving to our final item on tonight's agenda. That's 2024 annual inflationary rate adjustments to density bonus contributions. And before we start, does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest on this item? Okay, seeing none, the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
It's an application by the General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability to amend the zoning and development bylaw to adopt the 2024 inflationary rate adjustment to density bonus contributions and deferring the 2024 inflationary adjustment to 2025. No correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. And this is the first call for speakers. Any speakers for this item who wish to speak, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 1061445# before the close of the speakers list. And we do have staff to present, in noting that the General Manager of Planning is also the applicant for this item. This item has no speakers registered, so council could opt to waive the staff presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All those in favor say yay. Any opposed? Okay, seeing none. Also just noting that the General Manager is also the applicant. I'll just ask if you can indicate if you're interested to present or you'd like to waive. Okay, happy to waive. Thank you very much. So, council, are there any questions to staff? Seeing none. This is the second call for speakers. Please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by code 1061445#. The list, the number is also on X. It's also on the live stream. Are there any speakers in chambers? And seeing none, I will now do my third and final call for speakers. So any speaker who wishes to speak to this item may do so, may call in now, and the number is on X and on the live stream, and we will take a 5-minute recess to wait for any additional speakers. We'll come back at 8:12. To the end of the 5 minutes. If those who are virtually joining the meeting can turn their video on, please. And I'll just ask the clerks to verify if there are additional speakers or any speakers.
No speakers.
Thank you very much. So seeing there are no additional speakers, we'll now close the speakers list. And seeing there are little or no public comments received after 5 p.m., I'm now closing the receipt of public comments. And staff, any closing comments? Thank you very much. And council, any questions for staff? And I am seeing none. So council, do we have a mover for the recommendations? Thank you very much. Councillor Meisner, seconded by Councillor Montague. Any debate? Seeing none, we can go to a vote.
I have a vote assist in favor, please, Chair. Councillor Kirby-Young.
Thank you, Councillor Kirby-Young.
Sure,
Thank
I'll
you.
also say take a vote just in favor, please.
Thank you, Councillor Dominato. And that motion passes with none in opposition. So that does bring us to the end of our agenda. We need a motion to adjourn, please. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Carr. All those in favor say yay. Any opposed say nay. Carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much to our clerks and staff, and have a great August break, everybody. Last meeting.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.